So Thomas Tuchel today has announced his second ever England squad, and I don't think it's a bad squad, personally, but there are a few surprises, and Thomas Tuchel is sort of becoming infamous, isn't he, of picking surprising choices within his squads. Obviously, last time out, it was probably Jordan Henderson, who got a call up from nowhere, to be honest. And the same sort of happened again. So here's the full squad. You've got Henderson, Pickford, Trafford, Arnold, Byrne, Chalobah, who is a huge surprise to me, Colwill, James, Konza, Lewis Skelly, Kyle Walker, Bellingham, Gallagher, Gibbs-White, Henderson, Jones, Palmer, Rice, Rodgers, Eze, Gordon, Kane, Madueke, Saka, Toney and Watkins. And obviously the other huge surprise in this really is Ivan Toney. As we know, he's gone out to Saudi Arabia, and most people presumed that that was it. That was his career done and dusted. But from what I understand, he's been scoring goals out there. I like Ivan Toney. Look, and ultimately up front, we're not blessed, are we? We're really not. I mean, there's Harry Kane and then who else? Obviously, Ollie Watkins, potentially. But there's gaps in that forward line if Kane is injured. And ultimately, Toney does offer something a little bit different. He's a real good target man as opposed to Ollie Watkins, who's very much obviously running in behind. Thomas Tuchel, of course, was asked directly about his inclusion in this squad, and here's what he had to say.
Well, we follow him closely, like all the players on our list, and it's the same for Ivan. He played a lot. We watched him a lot. And he had massive contributions with decisive goals in important matches. He won a big title with his club, the Asian Champions League. I didn't have the opportunity to see him live in Saudi Arabia, so we took the possibility to fly him in to our camp and watch him live within the group, see his personality in the group and see his quality. He will compete with Harry, of course, our number 9, and Ollie Watkins, so it will be interesting. We have 3 strikers in camp.
And that's it, really. They followed him closely, so they've been keeping an eye on him. I think, though, we need to pause for a second and have a look at some of these players that have been omitted from this squad. Obviously, one glaring inclusion that was included last time was Marcus Rashford. He's not in this squad. Neither is Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, although we do understand that Phil Foden has requested not to be chosen. He has this week been talking about his mental health, both on and off the pitch, and I think he needs the break. Harry Maguire, of course, not been chosen. Mark Gahey as well. Bit of a surprise, but I understand he may have been injured in the final, but I'm not 100% clear. But if he is fit, it would be a really bizarre admission for me because I think he's England's best centre-back. Dino Livramento, another player who a lot of people thought he would be coming in at that full-back post, doesn't get a call up. Obviously, no Luke Shaw neither, even though he's playing at the moment. No Jared Bowen either. Interestingly as well, Gomez seems to be well down the pecking order, doesn't he? In Thomas Tuchel's eyes. I mean, Adam Wharton hasn't been chosen neither, and I know that's a continuous frustration for a lot of England fans, but he is in the under-21 squad for the tournament this summer, and we'll come on to that in a second. Great to see Conor Gallagher come in, though. I think he should have, he was unlucky not to be picked in the last squad, let's be honest, particularly when you're pulling up players like Henderson, who, I'm not a hater of Henderson, I think he's got a role in this squad, most definitely, but there was no reason for Gallagher to be admitted last time out, so it's great to see him in there. Rodgers as well, Gibbs-White, both thoroughly deserving their call-ups. But Chalobah, I mean, it was a bolt out of the blue. He's an uncapped player. There's 2 uncapped players in this squad. That is James Trafford and Trevor Chalobah. But I'm not saying he hasn't had a bad season or whatever, but I don't know, it was just a surprise inclusion for me. Maybe he wouldn't have been if Gahey was available, because maybe he isn't. But this is what Tuchel has had to say about picking Trevor Chalobah. He deserves the call-up and maybe he gets the first cap, so he's potentially looking at starting him in one of these 2 games. Of course, they are going to be against Andorra and Senegal. One a World Cup qualifier against Andorra and the other one a friendly. I think Adam Wharton's admission in particular is getting people's backs up despite the tournament coming this summer. The Euro Under-21 tournament is taking place. England are defending champions and it looks like England want to go there and win it. They want to take the strongest squad they possibly can take. But it is being called out. I did pick out this tweet from Henry Winter earlier, and I think it does actually make quite a good point actually. But he's essentially stating Adam Wharton is one of the best controlling midfielders in English football. He doesn't give the ball away. Bizarre that Wharton's overlooked by Thomas Tuchel. He'll go to the under-21 Euros, but Wharton's not a development player anymore. He suggested Thomas Tuchel's playing it safe, but he thinks he's going for experience, but essentially Henry Winter's saying, look, he's good enough now. Why is he going to the 21 tournament? Because essentially that's seen as a development opportunity. And I sort of do get that. And my friend Russell, who does the Three Lions podcast, well worth a follow, by the way, check him out. But obviously this is applying to some players that are now in the senior squad who are seen as ready and not going to the 21s who would be eligible to do so. So looking at his tweet earlier, Trafford obviously would qualify for the 21s. Colwell-Wood, Lewis Skelly, Bellingham, Palmer, Rogers, Madueke, all eligible to play for the under-21s, but are seen as not needing it anymore. And I think that's essentially what Henry Winter was trying to make. And I think what a lot of people believe now as well is that really, when you're looking at the fact that Jordan Henderson has been called up as well, that isn't a popular choice, no matter what you think. I think it's quite a sensible decision because you need that balance, but I understand people's opinion saying, how is he getting in the squad? Yeah, Adam Wharton isn't. I've mentioned the 21 squad a few times, so let's just quickly get it up. Obviously, this is a very, very strong squad. This will be the pre-Euro training squad, so essentially this is, I think, barring any injuries, most likely to be the squad that is going to the Euros. Now, there's a lot of exciting young talent in this squad that hopefully this is going to be a squad that can bring it home, back-to-back European titles, who knows. All of a sudden England are looking relatively strong in full-back areas, but the right-back in particular is a challenging area, hence why I think Kyle Walker keeps getting a call-up. So bizarre that we were so stacked at right-back at one point and had nobody at left-back, and now that seems to be a little bit of the reverse. Jude Bellingham's inclusion though is a bit surprising considering the fact that all this week it's just continuously been going on about Jude Bellingham needing an operation over the summer and that he would be out for 3 odd months or whatever. So it's a bit of an odd one because he's either injured or he isn't. And if he's injured, why is he playing? And yeah, it's just one of those that obviously I want to see Jude Bellingham in this England squad, but I don't know, it just seemed to conflict with reports, obviously, what was coming out of Madrid this week. A lot of the talk, though, has been about this is Thomas Tuchel giving basically 2 fingers up to the clubs, essentially, because there's players in here who will be playing in European finals. There's the Club World Cup as well. So there are a lot of players who are going to be playing a lot of football, and this was an opportunity that clubs, I know in particular, and club fans will have been wanting their players to take a rest, and Thomas Tuchel's gone, sod off. You know, I've only got a handful of camps where I can get these players together. He's picked a relatively strong squad here. The reality is this is more than enough to beat Andorra, isn't it, away? It's more than enough, and arguably more than enough to see off Senegal at home as well. So it's essentially for Thomas Tuchel to get some of these players in the room, you know, Palmer's, your Sakas, and all these players that weren't available last time for him. He needs to see them, doesn't he, sooner rather than later. I'm happy with this squad, though, genuinely. I'm really, really happy. I think it's got a nice balance. And when you look at this team and think there's only a load of potentially exciting under-21 players that can come into this, and then potentially other players that are out injured, such as Gahey and so on, that can come in as well. All of a sudden, you know, we've got a lot of depth. We've got a lot of depth, and this is a good base squad, really, that Thomas Tuchel can start to plan and build a squad around. Let me know what you think of that squad in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you love it? One of your favourite players missed out? If you've made it this far, consider subscribing. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all on my next video.